Hi everybody and welcome back to English Practice. This is part 3 of our set of videos on the English participles. Who is it for? I mean, like in part 1 we already told you which participles there are, how to build them, and in part 2 we told you how to use them, and we also introduced that participle clause. Now part 3 is for the advanced students among you. In part 1 and part 2 we only had sentences where the subject in participle clause and in main clause was the same, but you can actually have two different subjects in these two parts of the sentence, and this is exactly what we're doing here. So basically you have two possibilities, and the first one, and that's good news, is fairly easy. Have a look at the two sentences. I saw him, he was hitting the dog. Well, obviously what we've got here is we've got two different subjects. I saw him, as I, he was hitting the dog, of course, as he. And we have two objects, him and the dog. So what you can do is you can actually say in English, I saw him hitting the dog. I saw him hitting the dog. So the hitting the dog actually refers to the object, the object of that first sentence. And that is a perfectly alright English sentence. It sounds very nice. It actually sounds a lot nicer than I saw him, he was hitting the dog, because that's a bit clumsy, that's awkward. I saw him hitting the dog. It's a lean, nice English sentence. So what you want to remember is you want to put that participle clause, hitting the dog, right after the object it is referring to. So there shouldn't be anything in between. I saw him hitting the dog. Put your participle clause right after the object it is referring to, and your sentence is perfectly okay. Okay, now that's the easy possibility, and unfortunately the second one is a bit more complicated. I wouldn't say it's outright dangerous, but I know that it drives my students crazy. Again, let's start with the two sentences. I can't concentrate. You're making too much noise. Now, when you look at the grammar, obviously there isn't any connection between the two sentences anymore, because there is no object. You're not referring to anything here. I can't concentrate, you're making too much noise. And again, you have two different subjects. I guess that's pretty obvious. What you can do is this. I can't concentrate with you making too much noise. That's an important little word that we have here, the with, because the with actually indicates the change of subject. So put it there. I can't concentrate with you making too much noise. You take that first sentence, I can't concentrate, put down the with, which means that, hey, be careful, there's gonna be a change of subject. And then of course you have to put in the new subject, because without that it wouldn't make sense. So you put the new subject, you, and then you have your participle clause, in this case a present participle, making too much noise. I can't concentrate with you making too much noise. That's a perfectly alright English sentence. I mean, like, we wouldn't talk like this, but maybe people write like this, and that's the important part. And if you take 100% of participle clauses, then maybe this case makes less than only 1%. But unfortunately, your English teachers and also me, we want our students to be able to produce and to understand that 1%, just in case. Oh, there may be a time when you need it. So use with to indicate a change of subject, and then you can actually combine two sentences which have totally different subjects. I can't concentrate with you making too much noise. Let's have a look at some examples. Now that was the easy part. I watched them being taken upstairs. I watched them. You've actually come out of the sentence with that object, and then you right away put in your participle clause and you refer to the object, and you have a beautiful sentence. I watched them being taken upstairs. With the sun shining, we spent the day at the beach. Or we spent the day at the beach with the sun shining is also. So you've got we, that's your main clause here with that subject, and obviously the subject of the participle clause is the sun, because we're not shining, doesn't make sense. So you indicate, hey, there's a change of subject with the sun shining, and in this case you can also leave it away. The sun shining, we spent the day at the beach is perfectly okay. And you have two different subjects, still combined with that participle clause. Don't forget your with. If you want to be on the safe side, just put it in. With you packing the suitcases, I can clean the house. Or I can clean the house with you packing the suitcases. So you and I, different subjects. Obviously, there's a connection, of course, but not a grammatical connection between the sentences. And so I can clean the suitcases with, hey, there's a change of subject, you packing the suitcases, present participle, two different subjects. Yep, that works. And with the murderer finally being sent to prison, Charlie was promoted. Maybe Charlie is a cop, a policeman, and then he was promoted. He got to be lieutenant or something. I have no idea. The murderer finally being sent to prison. Ooh, yes. So, being sent to prison. It's a passive here and a past participle. Oh, that's a complicated sentence. With the murderer finally being sent to prison, Charlie was promoted, and maybe he became inspector. Again, you've got two different subjects. You put your with, and you can use your participle clause. No problem. The only thing is that really nobody is talking like that, and even in written language you'd be hard pressed to find a sentence like this one. Again, this is something we English teachers want you to understand. We want you to know that it exists, and maybe just in one little exam actually just put it in so you can prove you can actually also use it. So that's it, I guess, for the participle clauses. There will also be some exercises, but that's next time. So we say thanks for watching, and I see you when you get there. Bye bye.